Hi everyone, this is Citlalli,
Huitzilyolotl.
and we want to talk about the exploitation and the hijacking of our culture by other non-indigenous people and how they are economically profiting and exploiting our culture. So let's start off with some examples. Do you want to talk about some?
Yeah, so recently there's been this trend of like churros being really popular. Um, for some reason, I don't know. I guess churros are really good, but I've been noticing that a lot of Asian owned people are using churros right as their business. And I went like me and this friend were exploring churros stores or shops, and one was in the Asian district, and I was kind of shocked that it was Asian owned. And um, so yeah, it's just really interesting how a lot of cultures are like taking our culture away from us and using it as for their own benefit. And in a sense, because our again as the people, like we're not collective. We don't like we're not Jewish people where they're so collective. Or if they see or hear anything about Jewish people, they're on top of it, like they're on it, they're suing people, they're like ruining their business. And like for us, like we don't have that collectiveness or in that economic power where we could put a stop to people open up churros, people open up Mexican restaurants. And and we don't have that. So again, we're allowing people, and we allow it too. Like we support it, we don't like really protest it, we don't do anything about it. We just kind of allow it to happen because for whatever reason. And even with like Chipotle, like I recently found out that a white person who he was from Colorado, or he was from somewhere, but he went to the Mission District in San Francisco, which is a Mexican area. And he got he was a chef. And he like discovered burritos, and he found it was so simple and it was easy and it was really good. And yeah, and then he did his own like business. And it's like again, like I'm sure his burritos are not as better as the guy from the Mission, but yeah, he's over here, he's having a multi-million business already off of Chipotle. And then you go into the store, you see like the Mayan glyphs, and you see like very indigenous imagery around. So again, I mean, these people know, like they know who we are. They know they're still in our culture. They're trying to use our culture to attract us to their restaurants, to their businesses. And I mean, it's everywhere. Like I mean, I'm just finding out like a lot of Mexican restaurants are not. They're like different ethnicities. And even Curacao. Like when you go to a store, it's very imagery, like a lot of Mayan stuff. But then again, they're like Lebanese people. So you know it just I mean it's not I mean it, it's I mean it's not it's people that are not you know like they're not staying in their lane. Like I mean, you don't see a lot of Mexicans going like having like Asian restaurants or Asian or Middle Eastern cultural stuff. Like you see other races exploiting our culture. And and it's something that it's I mean, culture matters. And it's and we should like protect it. And again, but since we don't really know our true culture, we don't really know like who we are as a people. We're not really unified as a people. So again, like we're allowing these other races or other groups of people, to take over our stuff. And then even recently saw this video about people moving out of the hood, and they don't want to support their hood anymore, and they want to leave it. And then someone said, oh, it's because there's no money in the hood. And the guy was like, no, you see Asians in our hood, so there's money in the hood. But yet we rather leave it and say, okay, like I made it, so I'm out of here. And but yet we don't come back, and we don't create jobs. We don't make it better. We don't we think, oh well, it's we live in a dangerous area. It's like a lot of violence, a lot of gangs. So we rather leave than try to improve it. And so again, like we need to again like support each other. We need to be unified. We need to like try to make our areas a better place, not just abandoning them because we made it out of there. And as a result, it gives opportunity for other people to come in, other like Koreans, or mostly Koreans, to come in and like make money off our people. So again, we have to we just have to support each other. We have to really fight for our culture, and we really have to be vigilant and like say no, like that's not acceptable. Like you can't do this. You can't just come in here and like open up a churro spot and like you're not Mexican. And so so yeah, so that's what's really happening. And it's been happening for a while. Like, but again, now it's being some of it. Now it's being more more prevalent. We see it more often, or we're doing more research, or we're learning. We're doing more research on certain companies, and we're like, oh, that's not Mexican. It's like Italian, or it's like other people. So it's really interesting, that now we have the knowledge, and now we should put into action, like either boycotts for the word, or like just really try not to support these businesses, because again, they're making money off us, or put us in, make us go into debt. They're not, their food's not even that good. So it just we have to really fight for our culture, or else someone's gonna take it from us.
And also too, what you guys notice, they're not exploiting parts of a culture that come from Cubans or these white Latinos, right, that they consider, but these are predominantly Mexican, Central American, indigenous cultural factors, foods, culture, traditions. And so what's happening is they obviously are looking under the guise of Latinos, but if you look at the statistics out of the whole called the pie chart, if you look at Latinos, we as Mexicans, Central American, Native Americans, South Americans, we make up over 90% of the so-called Latinos in that chart. So they're exploiting our culture under the guise of Latino, but we know what they're doing. We know what they're specifically targeting. We know the type of foods that they're exploiting. And like he said, La Curacao, Chipotle, Plaza Mexico, which I love Plaza Mexico. And when I found out it's non-Mexicans, non-Central Americans that are the owners of this. And then you look at even some nightclubs that are about banda and Mexican music. They're owned by Asian. They're owned by non-Mexicans. And then you look, and then to take it a step further, when we go to restaurants that are about Thai food or Chinese food or whatever their food, who's cooking? We're cooking the food. So it's all fucked up. Like we don't own our own businesses. We don't own things that come and celebrate our heritage and our culture. We work for them, and then our culture is exploited. And like we're saying, I think a lot of it has to do, like he mentioned, the Jewish community is a sense of identity and collective existence, because we don't have that. We don't consider ourselves indigenous. We don't consider ourselves Mexican. We have a very disconnected view of identity. And so when we have these economic opportunities, we don't think about it. We don't think, how can we preserve our culture? How can we celebrate, preserve our culture, and, present this food to the world at a very different scale. And then on top of that, not only that, but we're looking at the economic opportunities, people that are able to fund our ideas, and with their financing, what comes from centuries and centuries of slave labor and theft and stolen resources. So you're adding another factor on there on why we cannot open these businesses or support them. So we just want to encourage you guys to look for Mexican-owned, Central American-owned, Nicantlaca-owned businesses. Let's support them. Let's know about them, because a lot of us don't know, who owns what, right? So if you guys can support local business, if you guys can support your own, mom and pop shops and art, and we really have to support each other. We really have to develop that collective support system amongst ourselves, because we are a huge economic power, and we are being dug deep in this hole of Latino and the Latino identity, which completely diminishes and destroys our power, because we are the sleeping giant on our own land. We are the majority, and in 50 years we will be the majority, and we have no economic power. So we need to start creating those networks. We need to start building those bridges, and we need to support each other's business. So we just wanted to point that out, because like Huitzilyolotl was making observations, I was making observations. We're like, it's not that we don't have culture. It's not that we don't have beautiful culture and traditions and amazing food. It's the fact that we don't have that connection, that support, and that interest, and really that sense of unique identity and support of each other's business. So keep that in mind next time you support and you do whatever you put your money to, and let's encourage each other to learn more, to find out more, and to really try to support each other's businesses, so that we can support our community and not these foreign communities that are coming in and taking away from our culture and our traditions. Last thoughts?
That's it.
Thank you for watching. Citlalli and
Huitzilyolotl.